Hi everyone, my name is Linda Reed-Enever and welcome back to another Business Skills webinar. This is actually our last skills webinar for 2020. We are wrapping up for the year. So Susie is joining us for our last one for 2020 and then we'll come back in 2021 with more skills webinars to help you along the way. Now today we are being joined by Susie from Meetfox, and Meetfox is a booking calendar. It's really cool. It helps you be able to integrate with your calendar and do all sorts of really funky things along the way. And I'm just going to pop in a link, our partner link for Meetfox, if you want to go and check it out. It's a really handy tool to be able to do so in the live stream. It's actually at the very top of the live stream, which will help you find it from there as well. And Meetfox is one of those tools. I talk about time blocking, blocking out your time, putting things together, and Meetfox is one of those tools that I use to work with clients, with course creators inside the course creators circle. It's one of the things we teach you how to embed into your course, is a booking calendar for extra coaching. And the beautiful thing about Meetfox is it syncs with your calendars. It takes payment and it has video calling all built in. So Susie, welcome, and feel free to say whatever else you would like to say about your product.
Thank you so much for this beautiful intro. That was a perfect pitch of our product. I love it. And thanks a lot for having me again on this webinar. It's always a pleasure to be on your webinar and to share our best practices with the rest of the world. From all the things that we've learned from working with coaches, with consultants, with general people who are trying to make money with their time and looking for ways to do so more effectively and efficiently. So I'm very excited to be here today.
It's great to be here. Now, I believe you've got some slides for us to have a look at on looking at the best practices in booking in your calendar and the stuff that you've learned. I'm really excited to see these today. So shall we delve into that one and start to have a bit of a look around and give some tips on how we can use booking calendars within our businesses?
Of course, let's give it a start. I'm just going to share my screen, and I hope you should be able to see it now.
Yep, we've got your screen. Beautiful.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, Linda already said what we do. We are Meetfox, and what is our big vision is to make meetings easy. We all have way too many meetings, and we want to make sure that we're not spending time with ineffective meetings and wasting our time with scheduling, with other things that are not making our lives better, but instead really focusing on the things that make our lives better and spending time on our customers and on the things that matter most, instead of all the administration that comes along with it. Yeah. We all know that COVID has completely changed our world. Everything that we knew before is not true anymore. It changed the way we work, it changed the way we interact with clients, and it also changed the way that clients are consuming services, and they are more and more expecting services to be delivered remotely, but they're also expecting more and more to get services at the push of the button. And yes, we strongly believe that this shift is here to stay, and therefore we have to also change the way we work constantly. What we know, as a matter of fact, is that independent professionals currently waste on average 6 hours every week on scheduling, on billing client meetings, on writing emails back and forth, and all these things that don't bring any revenue. In addition to that, there's a lot of new technology that you have to learn, you have to stack together, and it becomes quite complicated. And there's a lot of tech infrastructure that makes moving your business online quite challenging and difficult. And lastly, as I already mentioned, clients are have different expectations nowadays. They're expecting to get everything at the push of a button, because nowadays you can order Uber with 1 click, you can buy a pizza with 2 clicks and have it delivered to your home. And you don't want to wait for professional services to be accessed and delivered. You want those services to be available right now and at the push of a button instantly. And that is exactly why we have to change. On a positive note, despite all the sad things that have happened in the world, we know that people are now more than ever open to innovation. And this is a perfect time to change the way you work and to also change the way You provide your services to your clients, because your clients will definitely be more open now than they were a few months ago. And we believe that it's so important that you're adaptable, and that you as a person, but also your business, is changing to these new ways of working, and to seeing the situation that we're in as an opportunity in delivering services more remotely, and figuring out what are the benefits of actually working on a more remote basis, because there are a lot that people don't oftentimes think of off the top of the head. So that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about that. And we know, for example, on the expert side, the people that are delivering the services, there's a lot of convenience that is suddenly here to stay, because you can deliver your services from home. You don't actually need an office anymore. You can actually save a ton of costs because you don't have these fixed costs of renting an office space, maybe even having a secretary, that a front desk person. And also the fact that you can actually find new clients worldwide. You don't have any geographical boundaries. Suddenly you can talk to customers in Australia, as we are right now, and in England, in the UK, and in the US, everywhere. And that's the beauty of delivering your services online. You can talk to everyone. At the same time, also clients have this beautiful comfort that they can get all of their services delivered off the comfort of their own home. They can save a ton of time. They don't have to commute to get your services, and they can also find the right specialist that they need in that moment in time. And that's just the very rough overview of why we should embrace the situation that we're in, despite all of that.
Personally, I was in this situation when COVID hit. I was one of the thinkific experts in the Mentor Fund. Now, I had mentees coming to me from the UK, from the US, from Canada, from India, from all sorts of places trying to book into my calendar. And I can guarantee one of the first things was I was normally sent these guys on a Saturday morning our time, so a Friday afternoon US time. Saturday morning our time, and my first response was, here's my booking calendar. And Meetfox was the calendar I was using, and I'm like, here's my booking calendar, it all syncs up. And I had a custom booking link for these experts to be able to book in, for these mentees to be able to book into. And what it meant was they got their system, they got the information, but it also meant, because this was a part of the situation, they were able to schedule a meeting without going back and forth to me. And we've been there. We've all been there. And those of us who've been in this industry a long time have known what it's like. You're trying to schedule a meeting with someone else, and then someone else books in to the time slot that you've just said, to that person to be able to do so. So the thing about online booking calendars, and whichever one you choose to use, is the automatic sync between you and your calendar. I don't take a booking now. If someone says I can't work out your booking calendar, I almost take that as a prerequisite of, are we going to be a good fit to work together? Because we're going to explore a lot more tech. If you can't put your details into a form, we have a bit of an issue. But we also, it's a case of my calendar moves so fast, and this is the best way to do it. This is the best way to have our people come through and manage time zones. And that's, I think, Susie, one of the things that Meetfox does incredibly well is managing that multiple time zone and delivering it to the client in their time zone.
Exactly, yeah. So that's one of our sweet spots, is just, you don't have to worry about different time zones and look at different hours that you are available in all of the time zones, and then always add this little brackets in which time zone you are actually telling the other person the service, the availabilities. But you can just send them the booking link. They see it in their most convenient way, in their own time zone, and they can just pick the time that is available to them. And this is really, if you work a lot across different time zones, this is just an enormous helper, I would say.
Absolutely,
and I'm currently actually, recruiting for our own team, and I can tell you we've been having applicants from all around the world, and I am also completely refusing to schedule any meetings that are not coming through my booking link. And I've had 20 recruiting calls today. And if I had to actually do those all manually and schedule all these calls manually, it would have been a disaster. And like this, I was just like clicking link on all the video links, opening it up, and that's it. I did not have to do anything. It was all scheduled in my calendar automatically, all these 20 meetings. I didn't have to do anything. And that's really, that's why I really love our tool when I feel like there's actually a lot of value when
Beautiful,
working.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I love this little graph because it's so important.
Yeah, so it's just a really quick introduction of what our tool encompasses. So we have the scheduling solution that links automatically to a payment solution. So your clients can come in, they can schedule a meeting, they can even pay instantly during the booking. And then you have the option to offer them face-to-face meetings, which is nowadays, of course, in a lot of countries, not so easy anymore. But you can also offer video meetings, and those video meetings are fully integrated in Meetfox. You don't have to worry about it. Of course, if you have a preference to use any other solutions, you can do that as well. You can integrate Zoom, you can integrate Hangouts, you can do everything that you want, but we also have our own video solution, so you don't even have to worry about choosing another video solution. The beauty about our video solution is that it completely opens up in your own browser. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to download any software. Your clients don't have to download any software. And the moment the call is over, we are sending out an automatic invoice, so you don't even have to worry about all the administration that comes along with it.
And the beautiful thing about your recordings is that they are actually stored on the database for 30 days. And that's a handy little thing for people who are there, you know, looking at their meeting software and going, well, what do I need? Having that backup of 30 days of not, you know, being able to download a recording and those sorts of things is really handy. And it's quite a big tip.
Definitely, yeah. I'm just going to share a quick video just to get a feeling of how a booking software looks like ours. Oh, sorry, I clicked a little too fast. Just start again.
Go ahead, play that
so
now.
you get a booking page where you can offer all your services. Your clients can choose the available date. They can choose the time, again, in the time zone. They put in the contact information. If it's a paid meeting, they put in the credit card details. Of course, that's not obligatory. You can also offer free meetings. And the moment that's done, the client gets a video link that they simply have to click. At the time, they, of course, get reminded of the call. And the video call starts in the browser. It can even be white labeled, so it can be even happening under your own domain. If you care a lot about branding, this is where this comes in. And that's basically it. It's super easy. It's super easy to set up. But that's enough of that our own self-promotion. And now I'm going to move into some of the tips and best practices that we have come across and that we are also giving our clients constantly, because there's a lot you can do with booking softwares, but there's also a lot you can do to not use them effectively, and then they're actually going to just waste a lot of time, which is definitely not what you want to do. You want to save a lot of time, which is where we come in. So how do you manage your calendar like a pro? And there are lots of features that booking software in general, not only ours, but all the booking software mainly is providing things that you can like restrict how your clients were booking appointments with you. And Linda, I'm sure you've also experienced in the past last minute bookings. It's the worst, because you're just in the middle of something and suddenly you realize that you're about to have a booking that you did not know about. And that's just not how you want your booking calendar to work, and that you suddenly have meetings that you did not want to have in like 5 minutes. You want to have preparation time. And so what you can do is you can restrict last minute meetings. You can actually set up a booking window from when till when your clients can actually book. So you can say, I only want to get bookings with it in 4 hours and up to 4 weeks, for example. And that's actually the time frame that we recommend. We also would not recommend having bookings available too far in advance, because then people are going to book into your Christmas calendar where you might not even know where you're going to be, or if you're going on vacation whatsoever. So 4 hours to 4 weeks is the perfect booking window that we always recommend, because 4 hours should give you enough time, but should also make you very flexible for your clients to book meetings with you without having to wait too long.
With my particular service level here, and we say this in-house for most business owners here in Australia, my day flexes. You know, we've got particular days and particular things. So I actually have a 24-hour window. If you haven't booked in 24 hours, if I can't plan my next day, And I say this to all business owners about planning your next day. Unless you're a service that you know is a salon or something like that, where you can take a client in the next 4 hours, allow your head to have that headspace. As a coach and as a mentor, I say to people, if someone has to wait a little bit and they weren't prepared to wait, then chances are they weren't your client in the first place. And, you know, that's the reality. And that's also coming down to coaches, I say, about setting boundaries and setting expectations. If you're available on demand from the very, very beginning, they're going to be looking for you to be available on demand for the rest of the whole relationship coming through.
No, it is important to really make sure that your clients value your time the same way you do yourself as well. And that definitely helps to just like restrict how your clients can book your meetings with you.
Yes.
And also, I mean, one really important thing is to always sync your calendar. All the booking platforms allow for that option. To sync your Google calendars, to sync your Microsoft calendar. You just want to do that. You just need to do that once. You just click connect once, and it's going to be a lifesaver, because you don't have to look into your calendar and make times available anymore, but you only have to sync it once, and then your client will your calendar will know when you're available and when you're not. And the beauty of that is that you can just simply put in an appointment into your regular Google calendar, and it will automatically represent on your Meetfox calendar, for example, when you're available. One other thing is that we would always recommend setting automatic breaks in between meetings. It's another really easy thing you can do. You don't want to have back-to-back meetings. You need some time to cool off, to relax, to think about the next meeting, to get prepared, and then join the next meeting. And that's also one thing where we see a lot of customers unhappy when they start off with meeting platforms, because they're just overwhelmed because they got one meeting after the other, and then they're just like, oh, I don't have time for anything else. But that's not how you
allow breaks.
Exactly. Your meeting solution should be assisting you to work the way you want it. It should not control your calendar. You can control your calendar even though you use a meeting platform. And so you can set up breaks in between. You should also make sure that you're not too available. And here we would recommend that you set up blocks in a day when you want to have meetings, but that you also have blocks in a day where you don't have any meetings, so you can actually work on preparation, work on other tasks at hand, and catch up. Exactly, I mean, it really depends on the nature of your work. If you're a therapist, I'm sure you have a lot more meetings, but if you're a coach or a consultant, you need to also spend some time to prepare, to catch up, to promote yourself. And that's why we really recommend creating blocks and alternate these availabilities. That's also really important, because you don't want to always only be available in the evenings, because maybe your customers prefer to meet you in the mornings. And so maybe if your time frame, if your own schedule allows for that, we would always recommend doing, for example, Monday in the afternoon a few hours, and Tuesday in the morning. And that way you can actually alternate and be more flexible to your clients without being too available, because you also don't want to look as if you don't have any customers and you're always available for them.
Exactly.
You can always book you. Like, you can actually change that to at least appear a little more busy.
Easy. And guys, I think what Susie's mentioning here, and for those of you who are my Marketing Circle members and my Course Creator Circle members, where I actually talk to you about really important pieces of time blocking. You don't want to be in your content creation and your blogging mode taking people over. So this is really where you go, okay. And in-house here, I have particular days that are not available for consulting. You know, mainly my Mondays and my Fridays are working on the business days, and then the 3 other days of the week have consulting or training delivery spots like we're doing right now. And that for me allows me to get my time on the business, but it also allows me to go into what I call consulting mode, which is when I'm working on other people's businesses and my ideas are flowing and they're coming out in multiple different directions. And I think it's really important when we approach business and we approach a tool like bringing in a booking calendar, we use it to allow it to help our head, not only from the point of not sending 100 emails to book in, but we go into the right delivery mode for the right time. And Susie was mentioning she's doing recruiting at the moment. So I would have booked out a pure day just for recruiting calls, you know, not made it available to anyone else.
Exactly. That's what I did today. Today was my recruiting day. I did not have any other meetings, and I blocked off my calendar for everything else except for the recruiting link, which I sent to only the candidates that I wanted to interview today. So.
And that's really cool functionality within Meetfox. You can set your availabilities for different appointment types. So if you're recruiting, like you were saying today, or if you're consulting, you can set, Tuesdays are available for that, but Wednesdays aren't, etc. And it works really, really well.
Yeah. That's definitely something I would always recommend is changing availabilities per service that you're offering. Yeah. And then the other thing that you definitely want to do is set your reminders the way they work for you. So if you are a person that likes to know ahead and plan the day a little more, then of course you can set your reminders to be sent to you 4 hours in advance. I usually have it an hour in advance because that gives me enough time to prepare, but I also feel like I don't have to look at my calendar ever.
Yes.
My calendar reminds me. I don't have to actually check my calendar constantly. And that's also
And it gives you that hour to get back to wherever you needed to be, just in case you were out.
Exactly. Yeah. But what you want to avoid is that you constantly have to check your calendar and stay up to date. You want your calendar to work for you and take away that thought process from you, and just remind you all the time. And the beauty of Meetfox, for example, is that your clients are also getting reminded, which means that no-shows are avoided. People forget
You
meetings.
guys decreased my no-show rate with the text message and the email down to about 2%.
Oh, wow.
Much so someone no-showed, I got really, really angry.
And it's your time. I mean, if a client books a meeting with you, you block off that time. You're not available for anybody else. And if that person doesn't show up, it's your lost time. It's your lost revenue. It actually means a lot. And
it does. You can't rebook a time slot that has been taken by someone else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, I think, Susie, what we really need to talk about here is about your reminder system, which is really cool. It is email. It comes up in the Google Calendar if you've got Google Calendar, but it also text messages. Now, I know that my bookings in Meetfox get 3 reminders. So they get they get 4, because they get the one that confirms that they're booked in, which says add to calendar. True. They get the email an hour beforehand, 24 hours beforehand. They get a text message about 4 hours beforehand.
You can set it up. Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what time frames they were. They also get an email and the calendar reminders again an hour beforehand to turn up. So there really is no excuse. If someone doesn't turn up at that point in time, it is a case that they did not value your time. And it's a really huge saver when it comes down to coaching, because that's you putting your boundaries in place from the and regardless, even if you're doing service-based businesses, at that point in time, I'd be going, well, okay, well, the next time you book, there's no refund and you pay up front because you've no-showed on us in the past.
Yeah.
And just really setting our guidelines and our values, because anyone who sells their time, it is incredibly valuable to remember that your time is valuable. And if you let people walk away doing no-shows and rebooking and being able to continue to take your time that you can no longer charge for, that's all you're allowing them to keep coming back. You got to stand your ground in this area.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly a beautiful intro to the next topic, which is monetize your time, because
we rehearsed this earlier, didn't we?
Value every minute, because especially in service-based professionals, I mean, that your time is the way you make money. And if you just give away your time for free, that's definitely not the right way to build a successful business, because there's only a limited amount of time that we have every day. And we should value it as much as our customers should also value it the same way. Also, what you just mentioned with the reminders is that the no-shows is that through Meetfox you can even create cancellation policies. So your clients could even get charged for no-shows if you want that. Of course, that's all up to you and how you set it up. But we are seeing a lot of customers who are using that because they have seen so many no-shows in the past that there was no way to charge it, because try to send an invoice to somebody who did not show up.
They're not paid.
You're never going to get paid. And so giving them this threshold and will also increase the chances of actually people showing up. Or if not, you at least get paid for that. And you have a free hour to do other things. So that's also not too bad. So that's another beautiful way of using Meetfox or other booking tools. Overall, and this is a topic that you, Linda, will definitely be able to talk much more about than me, but overall, we've seen so many professionals follow their passion right now and sell their services, sell their expertise, sell whatever they're passionate about. Especially throughout this whole pandemic, we've seen a lot of very interesting use cases. So many people that you have not that have not thought about selling selling the expertise before, and now entering this consulting world, this coaching world, are realizing that they actually have a lot of expertise in a certain field that they can monetize.
Yes.
We have seen from the coaches that have just started off to consultants that have been very specific in one field. We've seen a lot of SEO consultants, marketing consultants that are now, that had marketing jobs before and are now entering this consulting world. We've even seen people who are selling the time. One of our customers is selling the time, showing others how to do their nails via video, and she's getting paying for it. Like, people are paying for that. So it's amazing how many opportunities there are to think about what am I good at, where do I find my own expertise, and how can I provide this expertise to other people that are willing to pay for that. And that is also how you should then set up your fees. We've seen a lot of our clients completely undervalue their time. And not charge what the market is charging, but also not charge what they should be actually charging to make a living off of it. Because what a lot of people forget is that you can't, most of the time as a coach or consultant, you can't work 40 hours a week in client meetings. You have preparation time in between, you have client acquisition time in between, and it just takes a lot of time. So you usually don't have so many meetings, and that's why you have to make sure that within those meetings you actually make a living, and you also figure out how much value are you providing to your clients. And what turns out most of the time is if you overprice, or if you price yourself at a higher price point, people actually don't turn away. They are still interested, and that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think what Susie's saying there, guys, that you need to take into consideration, for those of you new to this space, for those of you who are considering, moving into consulting and selling your knowledge, and your knowledge doesn't have to be, bearing in mind, your knowledge took you time to learn. That's the first thing we have to value when we're actually consulting, and I have people occasionally say to me, oh, your fee is quite high. And I say, yes, it is. I bring with you 21 years in my field. I've watched my field go from typewriters to digital, to Facebook, to marketing, all of that sort of stuff. I've watched that. And I have a certain number of consulting hours a week. And if you want to do it in a lower cost version, there's courses and there's opportunities, and there's all my free stuff out on YouTube. But if you want to work one-on-one with me, then yes, you pay for that time and you pay for it for an area. But what we've got to consider is there's not only the knowledge that we've taken, so the knowledge and all the time that it's taken to learn that skill. And if someone's wanting to learn that skill, doing it through us, doing it through a consultant or a coach, or, if you're a crafting person and you want to teach people how to sew or do something like that, you've got the shortcuts, because you're not sitting there trial and error and going, I wonder if this needle works, or I wonder if that works. The other thing you've got is your preparation time. And that is the 20 minutes it might take you before a call, where you go and do a little bit of research on the person, or you go and see what they were up to recently. It's also the client notes side of things, where you go and you're putting your notes into the records and you're putting all that information in. So 1 hour of client facing time quite often translates to an hour and a half to possibly 2 hours of actual work. So when you're charging out your hourly rate, it is not your hourly rate for just sitting there in front of the video. It's your hourly rate across everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Good rule of thumb in this office is 1 hour of client delivery time is 2.5 hours, and that's what we calculated at. Sometimes we'll get away with it in 2 hours, but most of the time it's 2.5 hours. By the time we do notes, a bit of research, bit of follow-up, giving them the links, whatever they need to do, processing our recordings and loading them into a client folder, these are all things you have to take into account.
Yeah. And also, one thing that you can definitely do is, of course, not everybody can do that, but especially when you're talking about business consulting, figuring out how much value are you providing and how what the return on investment is for your client. Because if your client gets suddenly an increase of 50% of their revenues because of your know-how and your work, or if they have been able to decrease their churn or increase get new channels activated to get new clients, that is a lot of money and a lot of value right there that you can actually price into your own consulting fees.
Absolutely.
If you think about that beforehand, if you think actually about how much value are you providing to your client, yeah, because it's not only time. Yeah.
Oh no, it's definitely not always time, but yeah, always add in some. Oh, I see so many people underpriced.
Exactly.
Cost creation, you know, the whole lot. I see you underpriced, and then I see people overpriced too. There is also pricing yourself out of the market, guys. Please avoid that. Please avoid that. Like if you want to charge, you know, $500 an hour, that's great, but make sure you're aiming for those people who sit within the $500 an hour range, and your marketing and your message and the delivery is at that $500 or $1,000 an hour type situation. It depends where you want to sit.
And also your experience is
and the change and the change you bring, you know. So what change do you bring to people?
Definitely. Yeah, you're completely right. I've also seen recent graduates that believe that they can charge $500, $700 an hour for the consulting services, and I'm surprised. I mean, maybe it works, but it's also a lot about the experience that you bring.
But if they get the results, great. You know.
Fantastic. Yeah, so I mean, one thing to increase your own fees is definitely also to become a thought leader in your area, to build your own brand, to have a holistic presentation online of where your expertise is, and to really present yourself like that. We've seen also a lot of especially coaches and consultants who believe that they're really good at everything. And that is destroying their own brand, because they are just having this huge list of all areas that they are specializing in. And that's not building a brand, because in the brand, when building a brand, and this is again where you have much more experience than me, of course. But it's, I don't know, what do you think about that?
And becoming a thought leader is becoming a thought leader. Now, you can teach marketing, you can teach business, you can teach all of those areas, but even in-house here, and Susie knows it, Clive's a business strategist. He talks on the overall arching end of business. I love the bright, shiny objects of marketing. I'll take your brand and message, but I'll make sure that the fonts match and all of the pretty stuff works, and we've got the message right, and we've got the value right. But under building a thought leader, and on your way to building a thought leader, is actually point number 4, which is sharing valuable content. So if you don't share value, you can't expect people to book in and pay for your time. And that's a huge one to my area. And that's where I think, even if you are a graduate and you're wanting to get out there and charge for what you do and charge $500, share some value, show what you do, show your stuff. The best marketing anyone can do is what we're doing even here today, Susie, where we're sitting and we're having a chat about how do you monetize your content. And then if you share that valuable content, down the bottom, if it's embedded on your website, you can put in a link to your booking calendar or a call to action to book in, or you can put it in your YouTube videos, the opportunity to book in and have a strategy session and have a conversation, and you make it easy with people for them to be able to talk to you. And that's huge.
Exactly. Yeah.
But be a thought leader, but build your brand and share valuable content. Don't shove your product down people's throats.
I would 100% agree with that. Yeah. Also, the other thing is that we've seen, of course, people complain about this pandemic and that it's very difficult to find new customers, very difficult to network. A lot of, in the coaching and consulting space, a lot of the clients come through referrals, but there's a lot of opportunities out there in terms of online networking events, online meetups that you can use to meet new clients, meet other like-minded people. That you should definitely tap into, and it's beautiful because you can actually be in 5 different events across the world in a day,
and not have 2 hours or an hour's traveling time in between all of it.
Exactly. Yeah, and you can really pick and choose, and if you don't like the event, you just leave and go to the next one. There's a lot more opportunities right there.
Exactly.
there's a lot to tap into. And the last thing is collaborate with like-minded people. If you meet others that have podcasts, that have or that would like to participate in your podcast, would like to write a blog article for you, and you write a blog article for them, there's a lot of collaboration opportunities with like-minded people as well, that you could tap into. And you don't have to be a single person doing everything by yourself. You can actually work together with others and collaborate and use the common forces to actually grow your business. Yeah.
And guys, inside what Susie's just shared here, for you podcasters, you can book, and I would, in all honesty, I don't think I would book anyone into a podcast who doesn't fill in a podcast booking form, because it triggers everything else for us. You can put in your podcast guests, ask them the question, get their bio, get their headshot, get everything through the booking calendar. It goes into your calendar. You set that day for podcasting so that you only go into podcast mode one day a week. You don't have to go in, or one day a month. You don't have to go into it multiple times throughout the year. The same situation for those of you who are course creators and you're looking at on-selling coaching inside your course. For those of you who are in my course creation challenge things, we talk about in the course creator circle, doing a welcome video that says, this is great, this is the course, if you ever need my help at any stage of time, and I say give them a discount if they're inside your course. Here's a special link, here's my calendar embedded below. If you need to have a one-on-one session with me, for buying the course, you get a discounted rate. Jump in here and book it, and embed your booking calendar, because you can take that lovely embed code that Meetfox or any booking solution gives you, and you can embed it into the lesson video. So for those of you who are using Thinkific, video up the top. So we go video lesson, and we put our video in, and we actually take time for thanking people. If we want them to book and give us more money, do the video. I can't say that strongly enough. The next component is, then you put your booking calendar in, and you, in the text lesson below, you just go to text mode. You don't want to use the WYSIWYG editor, and you embed the calendar, and it's there, and it's done, and it's simple for your people. And for those of you who are got some higher price courses that need to take the lead calls first to have a conversation, or want to vet your people, then use the text module in the site builder in Thinkific and embed your booking calendar that way, and have those 15-minute discovery calls, and allow people to poke you for a second before they give you a couple of $1,000 to take your course.
Yeah, that's actually one of the questions I had for you. What is your take on free initial meetings, free discovery meetings?
Look, I do discovery calls, but I only do them for a certain amount of time, and I do them for 20 minutes. I won't work with anyone one-on-one that we haven't spoken to.
Yeah.
And if that's a problem for people, I just say, well, that's great, but I want to know that I actually like you to spend 6-12 weeks working with you on your branding, because it's a long time as a consultant to spend that amount of time working with someone. But if it's a case of I want to pick your brain and I want to get all your details out of you, then yes, here's my consulting call links. Pay for the time. So we keep our discovery calls to 15 or 20 minutes max. Mm-hmm. And it's because that's all we need. We don't need to have a conversation. We need to make sure that we like each other and things are going well. And then at that stage in time, it's about valuing your service. There's 2 schools of thought out there on whether you offer discovery calls or you don't. Mm-hmm. For me, I don't have enough time to work with people I don't want to work with. So
yeah, it's good. It's also for yourself.
Quality assurance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I also love discovery calls, because especially when they're limited by time. Yep. And that's also a nice thing that you can set up very easily. Set up 10 minutes, 15 minutes discovery calls. And the nice thing about it is that you can always say, oh, sorry, I have to jump off to the next call. Yep. Because especially if you block all your discovery calls, you really are not going to waste more time than those 15 minutes. And maybe those 15 minutes are totally worth it. We've done now the same with recruiting. Actually, we've all of our applicants that we kind of liked, we just invited to a 10-15 minutes call first. Then the next round will be a 1-hour call, and that's exactly how you can also navigate through these kind of
And guys, I think there's really important thing. The important thing about discovery calls to realize is it's a quality assurance for both yourself to make sure that it's going to work with discovery calls. But what I find, being a marketing consultant and being a branding, marketing, PR and branding consultant, is someone will quite often come for me with PR when they're actually looking for marketing or advertising, or they're not ready. They actually don't have the foundations ready to go and put money behind marketing yet. So they actually need to go and have a look at something else. Or they come to me, Susie, with I've got $500 to spend on a campaign. Can you please make it work for me? And I'm going, I'm going to take that $500 off you. You maybe need to go and look at learning some of this yourself. And here's some courses to help you. And it's about making sure that expectation is real.
Definitely, yeah. But at the same time, these discovery calls can lead to long-term relationships that maybe if they're not ready now, at least if they had a conversation with you, they have you in the back of their head and they know that they can come back to you the moment they are ready. So that's
and you are doing the right thing by your client. You ethically are doing the right thing by not taking on someone who you can't service to the right level.
Exactly, yeah, totally. Great. So I'm just going to quickly show you a few best practices on how to best automate your business. As we said, we want to make sure that the meeting tool is working for you and that you are also able to increase the number of bookings that you get from people that you want to get bookings from without all the back and forth. And the great thing about the internet overall and about having so many channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Google, is that people can actually find you everywhere and they could convert everywhere. So there's a lot of potential clients out there that could book you in a matter of seconds. But what we see a lot is people don't really make use of all of their channels. They are even posting a lot and doing a lot of LinkedIn activation and all of that, but then they don't have any way to convert customers. And this is where we believe you should have call to actions across social media. Of course, you should navigate which call to actions you have where. So you can, for example, only have like discovery calls on LinkedIn where you believe you can actually get high quality discovery calls. If you are worried about having a lot of calls that you don't want, you can always put in a price tag so you don't get bookings that you don't want, but at least make it easy for people to get in touch with you and get.
Now, Susie, I think one feature that we've maybe forgot to mention about Meetfox is you can accept or decline if you wish. You can set your calendars to accept and decline bookings as well.
Yeah, so you can have a whole questionnaire set up on Meetfox that where you can ask any kind of questions. Your clients will have to put, or your potential clients will have to put in all the responses to the questions and send it. And the moment you get it, you can actually accept or decline the request, the appointment request, and that is it. So you don't even have to waste time on talking to people or asking people questions upfront that you would have to otherwise do differently for other tools. You can just use Meetfox for that and use this one-stop solution for that.
Especially if you're going to put calls to actions in on social media, which I completely agree with you. You definitely should do. But if you're going to put call to actions in and you find you've got a massive amount of discovery calls coming through and they're not on value or they're not on brand or they're what I call buy you a cup of coffee. Can I buy you a cup of coffee and get all your knowledge type phone calls? Then set the acceptance and see what they are. And especially if you find, because I know in-house here, we're pretty good at being able to pick up the people that have booked in 5 or 6 discovery calls, basically to keep seeing what else they can get for free. But about looking at it and going, okay, well, then we accept. And if they've booked their 5th discovery call with you, you can politely decline the appointment and say, hey guys, that's great, but you need to pay now.
Exactly. Yeah. And what I would also, you can always either send your customers or potential clients to your booking calendar that only shows one service, for example, the discovery calls. But what we would recommend is even showing them the 2 services. So the discovery call, which is, for example, free for 10 minutes, but next to it, the service, the coaching session, the consulting session for, let's say, $200, $300, $500 an hour, so that they understand the value of your time and that they understand that these 10 minutes actually mean a lot, and that's a huge investment from your side that you're giving them for free.
I completely agree with you. And you just never know who actually converts from the start and says, no, I value the time, I want the hour.
Exactly. Yeah, so on Facebook, there is this beautiful book now button that you can just edit and put in your Meetfox button into that to make sure that your clients can book appointments from your Facebook business page. The same is true for LinkedIn, where you can actually nicely put into your description, and they don't have a book button yet. This is supposed to come soon, but until then, you have this beautiful description that you can just put in and allow for discovery calls to be booked here. Especially LinkedIn is a great way to network with people. There's a lot of automations you can do with LinkedIn in general, and why not use that also as an acquisition channel? A lot of people are just using it to network and to talk to people, and then the conversation is taken elsewhere to email, etc. But you can actually convert customers right there. Other than that, there's Instagram, a very popular channel, especially for coaches. And this is another beautiful place where you can convert customers, especially when they are on mobile phone and they want to like quickly, they see something from you, they see a few videos, and then they're like, oh, actually, I would love to book that. You don't want to create thresholds to get in touch with you. Just allow them to book it right here. Same for YouTube. Linda, I believe you've done that in the past as well, is book a meeting with Meetfox into the description of the video, especially if you're providing a lot of value in the videos. As Linda already said, you want to make sure that people know that they can even get in touch with you afterwards, after seeing the video, that there's an easy way to ask a lot more questions and to actually get personalized advice. And lastly, the email signature is a really beautiful place that a lot of people forget, but especially when you're already in touch with somebody and you're writing emails back and forth, why not have an email signature that allows people to book a meeting with you? And I've seen it so many times that that people wrote me something and I wrote them back, and then they're like, oh, by the way, I just booked a meeting with you via your calendar. I did not even have to tell them, please go to go to this booking link and book a meeting with me. They just did it by themselves, and that saved me another email to write. And it's just so convenient.
It saves you time.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, yeah, definitely recommend it here. Lastly, on your website, I know a lot of you have websites that are oftentimes very beautiful, but then there's no way to actually get in touch. There's maybe a contact form. Contact forms are great. I'm not going to say anything bad about contact forms, but they take a lot of time. If you have to suddenly write about what exactly you want, and your clients have to think about what is it that I want to talk about, that's creating a threshold to get in touch. And sometimes you just want to make it easier for them to get in touch, not more difficult. And that's where booking buttons come in very handy. You can either embed it completely on your website, you can have a pop-up showing up, or you can have a floating button. I'm just going to quickly show you how it works. For example, this client of ours, he has put in a booking, he has the contact form, but next to it he also has the calendar showing up where people can click and book a meeting, which is very easy. This is another of our clients. She has embedded it as an iframe, and here you can see beautifully the session of the services that she's providing, and people can just simply see it with one click and book an appointment. Here's another one of our clients where you can see there's this little floating button on the right lower side. When you click on it, that's what's opening up. So it's completely integrated, completely embedded on the side. You can even actually change all the colors. That's a new feature that we have, completely branded. So it really looks like your branding, and your clients will feel as if it's your native solution, and that they stay or remain throughout the whole process on your platform. Even a video call, as I said, can happen on your website, on your URL. So there's a lot of opportunity to provide a super seamless customer experience that your customers will simply love. And that's what I just quickly wanted to
No,
mention.
I completely agree. And our video calls.
Yeah, the last part is the video calls. We've seen so many video calls. We are every day in video calls. And there are just a few quick recommendations that we have for people that are providing the services via video, because there's nothing worse than having a video that is blurry, where you hardly can see the person, where there's a background that is super distracting, where the lights aren't good. And so what we would recommend is, first of all, turn off all your notifications. People can actually tell very easily if you're distracted. If you get an email notification, if you get a Slack notification, if you get things, like, you can see very easily in your eyes if you look somewhere else. And that's actually just not very nice to your client, because the client may be paying for your time. So make sure that you're present and make sure that you are giving them the full attention. Also, actually, and that's something that I've completely disregarded also in this call, but speaking slower is super important. Through video, a lot of the words are getting lost, and especially if there's maybe the internet connection not so good, or if the sound quality isn't that good, speaking slower actually helps a lot. And also using headphones is always recommended, unless you have a really good sound system. Be aware of your background. Of course, Zoom and other solutions have a beautiful virtual background like mine, that you can just set up, and then you will look professional. Your kids and your dogs and your husbands can run around in the background. Nobody will be able to see that. That is also a really nice way to just look more professional and give your client full attention. Light is really important. You would want to make sure the light comes from the front. I've seen so many video calls, and of course it depends on your office setting, but don't sit in front of a window where the light comes from the back, and because your clients will have really big troubles seeing you, and the video quality will be much worse. Make sure that the light comes from the front, and if you're sitting in front of a window, still make sure that you have some light from the front. There are actually really good light systems as well that you can purchase if you have a lot of video meetings, if you have professional video calls. You may want to buy on Amazon those $20 light frames that you can put behind your computer. I'm actually using one right now, and it's just super easy to set up. And lastly, which is very interesting, I just read that recently, is that you should always hide your self-view when you're on a video call, if you want to reduce Zoom fatigue, and also if you want to provide your customer the customer the best experience. Because first of all, you can actually tell when you're looking at yourself, and second of all, your eyes are automatically always looking at yourself. So instead of having a normal conversation, you look at yourself all day long. And if you have meetings all day long, that gets really tiring. And that's actually one of the reasons why people are so tired of video meetings. So make sure you can actually just like click on it and hide it, and that's it. And you just give your counterpart the full attention. Yeah. So that is basically it from my side. I really hope that everybody's going to give Meetfox a try. It's completely for free to set it up. There are up to 3 meetings per month completely for free, and you can use that, set it up on all your channels and see how it works for you. And if it does work for you, great. If it doesn't, then we can talk. You can book a meeting with me as well, and we can help you set everything up and make sure that you're actually getting a lot of value from Meetfox.
Beautiful. Guys, I've put our referral link in for Meetfox because they're part of running the BBB community, and part of keeping us going is our partner relationship, so that we turn up and we get to be able to, turn up and spend those hours that you see from us daily inside the Facebook group supporting you. So if you do decide to go and have a look at Meetfox, even if it's only for the free version, make sure that you follow our link, because that's going to also let Susie know how many people came through. And it does allow us as a partner to be rewarded for the community and for the space, and help us monetize and cover a little bit of the costs of running the community that we do for everyone. Has anyone got any questions for Susie today? I'm just going to check the live stream to see if we've got any questions coming along there as well. If you've got any questions, pop them in chat. We'll all be good and have a chat from there. Otherwise, I'll just check BBB and make sure that we've got no questions coming in through there. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask. I'm just going to quickly check the chat box. At this stage, we've got nothing coming through. We must have done a pretty good job then, Susie.
Awesome. Fantastic.
So to wrap up from today, if you've got questions, please feel free to pop them in. We'll answer them as we're coming along. But to wrap up from today, look at booking calendars on how you can use them within your business. Look at how you can monetize your skills. If you're a dance teacher, look at whether you can book, Zoom classes or deliver classes via video. If you're a coach or a consultant, or you're selling your time, look at how much, and I can tell you this stuff reduces your time dramatically. Those back and forth emails, you're talking about hours a week that you get back in little bits that you didn't do, and you can use that for marketing, or you can use that for having a cup of coffee and a break throughout the day. So making sure that you get into those areas from there. Embed your booking calendar in as many places as you possibly can, I think, is one of the key takeaways that we've got from today. So your website, any of the places that you're learning at, and put in the booking links from there. But get back some time, and time block. Time block is huge. Time blocking is huge. Make sure you use time blocking to work with you. So unless we have any questions, I'm going to say thank you to Susie for joining us today. I haven't seen any questions come through. We are hitting right on that 12 o'clock mark, and I do want to let everyone go and have a lunch break, especially for those of you who are joining me for the marketing session with the Business Life Planners at 1 o'clock. That's going to be huge. Welcome. So thank you everyone for a 2020 and joining us for skills webinars. We will be back in 2021. For those of you who are looking at wanting to work with Clive and myself in the planning weekend, there is one ticket left. So there is one spot left, and the early bird ends about must be midnight tonight. It was about 14 hours ago when I checked a little while ago, and that gives you a chance to come and work planning strategies and exploring how you use tools like this to work with you one-on-one in later on the year. That's on the BBB website. It's also on the Facebook page, and you'll find it under the skills page as well. Susie, it has been a great working with you this year. Thank you for coming in. We started in COVID. We started with our COVID information sessions. It's been fantastic seeing Meetfox grow, because you have grown a lot this year. And I've been excited to share you with the BBB community. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for having me again. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all next year, hopefully again.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll have you back, and we'll come back and have another chat and see what you've got up to then.
It would be great.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Have a great one, and we will see you around. Have a good year. Bye.
Bye.